One of those guys that loves to play Scion. And we have the return of Huni, the guy with the craziest KDA in all of LCK. I think it's like 24.5 or something ridiculous.
Huni will have his pick of the litter here against Ed, and it is important that you do bring up the Scion, as Ed is one of the only top laners in Korea that thinks that that champion is very, very good. And starting off the pick and ban phase, MVP undoubtedly will have to go with the Camille, Rengar, LeBlanc ban. You don't want to give Rengar over to Peanut, don't want to give Faker LeBlanc, don't want to give Camille over to probably anyone on SKT except Bang.
Support Camille, is that a thing?
Support Camille is a thing, yes. And SK Telecom banning the Rise, and now they're hovering the Zyra. A very quick pick and ban phase here.
SKT wants to go home early. Quick 2-0.
Quick 2-0, and SK Telecom no strangers to first picking Malzahar. Wolf has found a lot of success on that champion. And with the Zyra banned away, that's probably what's going to end up happening.
Yeah, kind of just has to get through unless you ban it yourself. And of course, Red side is never going to have the opportunity to ban it. So it's a fantastic first pick. We saw a lot of Kazakhs first picked out of Samsung, but they also banned Malzahar, so that's part of the reason.
So now MVP here might just respond with 80 carry jungle. And with Varus being available on the red side, wouldn't be surprised to see them pick that up.
We'll see if they want to go with that, or if they want to mix things up. A lot of decision-making time being spent, and they are going to lock in Ashe.
Ashe, and now they need a jungler, probably going to be Kazakhs. Can't see beyond wanting any other jungler. The only alternative would be Elise, I feel, at this point. But Kazakhs is the #1 priority here in LCK. Definitely don't want to give him over to Peanut. So they do go with the 80 carry jungle, and now handing it back over to SK Telecom, they probably want to respond with jungle ADC.
Oh.
In which case, that's probably going to be jungler X Varus. I can't see SK Telecom going for Jhin or Caitlyn when Varus is available.
Lee Sin locked in for Peanuts, one of the junglers with the worst record so far in LCK Spring 2017. But Peanut, he's pretty good at Lee Sin, so we'll see if he can get another win for that champion.
And MVP hovering the Syndra, and I'm wondering why they're doing this, because now if it moves into the second pick ban phase, SK Telecom has a lot of options available to them on what they want to ban out, and Misfortune isn't selected yet. Syndra is locked in. They're highlighting the Katarina.
I've said it before, it's really hard to ban out Faker, but I suppose Katarina is one of his more scary picks, so you want to take that away, I suppose.
Probably the only mid laner in LCK that you actually do have to ban Katarina away from right now. And I mean, that's a strength in itself, the fact that your mid can play it, and or even just your team. It's now Misfortune, she is banned away. And we're gonna have to see what the final ban is here for MVP. And they don't have a lot of direction to go with this. You don't want to devote another mid lane ban, because it's extremely difficult to ban away Faker. And they choose to go with Shen, so that's targeted at Huni.
Huni's a monster, man. Oh, look at that, the Scion. Want to take that away from MVP. Not a bad idea. That's quite good on that champion.
So they ban away the Scion from MVP. Maokai hovered.
Maokai is like always picked 4th.
Yeah.
Just, it's such a common red side 4th pick.
Interesting though that it's not just the support to get it out of the way and then conceal your top lane for the counter pick, because you don't need to funnel and show that you have a top on tank or a tank on top side, because that hands over too much control to SK Telecom, who can now respond with, well, they're going to pick Corki up for Faker, but now they can respond with Fiora, Gangplank, any of the anti-top tanks, and you just completely give away initiative and all sort of control, and there's no reason to do that in the draft phase. And SK Telecom highlighting that Gangplank, and they're basically saying thanks to MVP right now.
That's a pretty sick late game. You got Corki, Gangplank. If you can get those guys farmed up And also Varus, it's a ton of poke as well with the Varus Corki combo. Quite scary. Zillion being hovered here, but Cassiopeia.
We might see a switcheroo.
What? Okay.
All right, so that's probably going to be a Syndra support.
No chance for Cassie support.
I can't see why you would want Cassiopeia on support.
You do one combo and then you're out of mana, and you just kind of sit there and make scary faces. Yeah, Syndra support.
All right. So it is swapped over to support, and so MVP, they're coming out with a very wonky team composition that things can get very dicey, but if they fall behind, there's no chance of recovery. This is a one-way street for them in this matchup.
The Bang mustache still going strong. I know a lot of fans out there are very happy about that. We'll see how far he takes it. It doesn't seem like it grows, though.
He's gonna shave.
It just like stopped there. That's like as far as it goes.
MVP is gonna win game 1. We're gonna go into game number 2. Bang's not gonna have the mustache. He's just growing it until SKT loses.
It's like his playoff stash, but he's growing it early.
Yep. He's gonna get to Worlds. He's gonna have a full beard.
Yeah. That would be pretty interesting.
All right, so here we go. Team composition for SK Telecom. Lots of aggression available to them in mid and bottom lane. Not so much up and top, but Huni gonna be able to get a bank via the Bandit and the Parley. And on MVP's side, their team comp only has one direction to go, and that is forward. So they need to make something happen in bottom or mid also.
Yep, they're looking for picks. They're looking for kills. Can they do it here? Whoa. Going into the dramatic sets in, and we are about to start game number 1, guys, between SKT and MVP. So go out there, tell your friends, tell them SKT's on. We'll see if they continue their streak here going into game number 1 up against MVP. Welcome to game number 1, match number 20 of LCK Spring 2017. And LS, chances that Faker is going to get more MVP points today, I think they're pretty high.
They are probably high indeed. Corki pick, and also Faker starting with the Doran's Blade. Not super usual. We also got to see that in the previous series, so it is a little bit out of the ordinary from the Corrupting Potion. You can see that Ed and Beyond, maybe Beyond is actually starting Wraith Camp, so right from the get-go, they're looking to do a lot of creative, aggressive plays. So Beyond might actually eat the Wraith Camp with the assistance of Ian and Ed, and then try to immediately go over to Peanut. Never mind. No, let's just throw that out the window.
Yeah. Stop right there. And yeah, Ed is just going to eat this. I feel like we have to clarify once again, because inevitably there's going to be one person on Twitter who's like, hey, it's ADD, it's not Ed. And we're like, no.
No,
okay, guys,
that's
it's
not
not.
how it is.
We asked him, he said it's his name, so he gets to decide how it's said. He said it was Ed.
In Korean, the Korean characters would be pronounced Ed, but then when you type it in and Romanize it, it ends up spelling itself ADD. So unlucky there.
Maybe if he put it lowercase.
There's no capitalization or lowercase in Korean, Brendan.
No, I mean in
English.
Yeah.
All right, so meanwhile, Ian and Ed didn't really seem to make use too much of that level up. Faker getting a really big chunk down onto Ian, but then Ian responds quite well.
Yeah. Corki's a pretty good champion to trade with level 2. Proc the Thunderlords with the Gatling gun. Throw down the Q. and auto attack 2-3 times, you can really chunk a lot of those mid lane champions.
Peanut looking for some intel. Beyond a little bit behind.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Here he comes. Oh, he's going to land it. He's going to leap away. And there you go. He does get away. But now that's Peanut's Grump.
Peanut's Grump. And a little bit of a trade happening in bottom lane here. Max taking a lot of damage. Peanut going to kill the Grump buff. And all that he's doing is he's staying around the right side jungle. He's going to check on Wolves. Although he should already know that they're gone because Beyond showed himself, so Peanut should have been able to hit tab and count the CS real quick. Peanut gonna stay around bottom. We talked about earlier on how mid and bottom needs to be the focus for SK Telecom.
Look at this top lane. Huni's actually got a really nice position here with the way the lane is positioned and the amount of mana that Ed doesn't have. So he's just kind of chilling there in a pretty good spot so far.
And Ed actually recalling as Beyond made his way to the top lane. Max taking a lot of pressure right there. And even if what they're trying to do is set up Beyond to come top while Ed recalls, it's not going to be like SK Telecom couldn't predict that as a possible movement or rotation because they have the intel on Beyond's right side jungle.
Beyond going for that north scuttle crab. And here comes Peanut. Never mind. Gonna recall. Just go back home. Decide they can't really set up something in the top lane.
Ping went down onto Beyond. They know exactly where he can and can't go right now. And meanwhile, I mean, the laners for SK Telecom, they're just content to just let this unfold the way that it is. Huni getting a lot of gold extra up in top lane via the Bandit Mastery and the barrels and parlay.
It's very interesting to see all the responses to the Malzahar support. And Syndra being one of them. We also saw Lulu coming out because of her passive with picks, doing the extra damage.
Yep.
But what do you think about Syndra versus Malzahar? So far, it doesn't really seem like it's doing all that well.
I don't think it's worthwhile, especially not when you factor in the change that Syndra has had, where she loses the ability to hold multiple orbs with her W. So I don't see it as a very good pick, because it's even more difficult now to set up multi-man stuns. So I'm not really impressed by it that much. I think Lulu has a little bit more merit. I think that Zillion is a potential answer to it, but I don't think we're going to end up getting to that stage because Malzahar, I believe, is set up to be gutted in 7.3, so teams won't be hard-pressed to find an answer to it. But some of the solutions that some teams have come up with, I think, feel like they're grasping at straws.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem to work all that well. I mean, we saw some teams try to do it with Camille too. Forget who it was actually that played Jax against Camille, and it didn't really work out for them. Expression, that's who it was. I swear I didn't just have a little voice in my ear tell me that. I just remembered it, guys.
Meanwhile, Ian and Faker going pretty even in mid lane, although Ian a little bit ahead on CS, but some of that is actually the small wraiths.
For a second, I was like, wow, how is Faker 2 levels ahead of the mid laner? Because I saw Cinder, and then I'm like, oh, wait. Yeah, he's support.
A little bit of a chunk happening on Max as he goes to clear out the control ward. And this has actually been the trend for SK Telecom's games, is very early on, around pre-12 minutes, everything will just be going fine and dandy. And then all of a sudden, it'll just explode. He'll give them 1 kill or something, and the entire game just turns on its head.
Oh. 1 health. Trolley blue buff.
Huni now does have level 6. And when Bang and Wolf are going to be approaching level 6, things can definitely get chaotic in bottom lane as Peanut going to move his way back onto the right-hand side of the map with red buff coming up. So, talking about explosiveness, It's going to be very difficult for an Ashe and a Syndra to somehow survive against all of that.
Yeah, you can already see the effect that bot lane is having. Up 16 CS is Varus over Ashe. Really making that work. I think most of that is due in part to Wolf and his harassment, but also the poke out of Varus. Blue buff, rather, going to be handed over to Ian to make that mid lane a little bit easier.
Bang ends up picking up the little bit of a poke right there onto Maha. Not so bad. And everyone has to be really careful here in bottom now, with both AD carries being 6. The real thing to look out for is when Wolf hits 6, because there's not going to be any sort of a response.
Oh, here we go. Enchanted Corruption comes down. It actually lands onto Max, but nice Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto Bang, disallowing any further damage coming up. Peanut is thinking about it, but both Max and Maha are pretty healthy at this point in time.
You can see the Beyond is running down to bottom lane.
Oh,
there's the Gangplank ult.
Yeah, there we go. Nicely done. Good stun. Are they actually going to kill him? Yes, they are. First blood going over to Wolf. Here's Peanut, but Beyond in a good spot here to deny the kill.
Beyond is here. Faker making his way down as well. They might just want first blood turret here. Oh no, Faker.
Oh, here comes Kha'Zix onto the Lee Sin. Kicked right into Gorky. Faker's got to get out there, as you were saying. He does back off the flash, actually, onto Wolf, but really nice exhaust. Down he goes, and here we go. The snowball just started getting rolling. Nice kill, though, from Ed onto Wolf, at least, to pick that up.
Yep, Ed having to teleport down to bottom, gave up the wave in top that runs right into his turret. Huni still has his teleport over Ed, and that's what we were talking about earlier on, where SKT will just flip the game on its head in a matter of seconds, and all of a sudden, SK Telecom, they're almost up 2,000 gold.
Yep, just like that.
So here we have Faker and Peanut down in bottom lane. They know Faker's here, and then Faker turns around, waiting for the Cassiopeia ultimate. Peanut kicked Beyond into Faker, so Faker having the Valkyrie goes over the wall, and then they thought that they could maybe turn on to Wolf and kill him, but the damage coming out from Peanut and Wolf, able to bring Beyond down, and Ed was there to clean up the kill in the end, but still. Meanwhile, in live though, Bang actually went down.
Yeah, he got arrowed there by Maha, and Beyond was around to clean that up, so. Nice conversion into a kill. Now they're getting a bit of damage down onto that turret. Get it to about 130 HP.
Lots of damage down onto that turret indeed, and now they have to be careful. They don't want to give away first blood turret. It looks like Maha and Max are going to back up and recall. So important to note that Bang is going a tier on Varus, so it's not just going to be the pure glass cannon lethality Varus.
Peanut checks the Wolves again. So many pings going down, and they see them leashed, so Beyond has to be careful over here. Actually scans for a ward. Peanut stealing 16 gold away from the small Wolf.
Oh, Wolf actually cancels the recall.
Oh, and look at that. The kick coming on in, and Max is dead meat. Down he goes. Peanut picks up another kill now at 2-0 on that Lee Sin.
And now SK Telecom, they get the first blood turret of the game. Looks like it's going to be shared between Bang and Peanut. And the gold lead now over 3,000 at 11 minutes and 50 seconds.
How do they do it? Nobody knows. Well, we did see them do it. Their farm is really on point as well. You can see the difference between Varus and Ashe is only getting worse.
Now they're picking up Cloud Drake, which isn't the best Drake to pick up right now, considering that one of the turrets is already down, and now they're going to begin rotating into other lanes. It will help the speed at which they do that, but Cloud Dragon definitely is a lot better when the lane phase is still in full effect.
Okay, we got Ivysaur up next, the Ocean Drake. Fantastic. Everybody's favorite Drake. I said it before, I mean, it's okay for, you know, Corky Varus. You want to have that sustain for the extra poke. Oh, look at that. Nice steal from Ad, but he might pay for it with his life.
Yeah, he's going down there. They probably want to give this to Faker.
Yeah.
To give him his blue buff. So they took it, and then Faker took it back, except with a little bit of gold.
Roaming Malzahars are super scary.
Yeah.
Like when you play mid and they flash ult you, it's like, okay, well, I know I'm dead.
So we can just take a look at this. Max was almost recalled, and Wolf was able to get there just in time to cancel that. Very clean kill that they were able to transition.
Yep, good execution. I don't believe Varus was able to get an assist on that one.
Now Huni's ultimate available. Ian has to be really careful here. Malzahar doesn't have ult. Ian taking a ton of damage, and SK Telecom just seemed to make so much more use of Malzahar with Wolf than any other team so far in LCK.
Yeah, I feel like MVP is definitely going to have an easier time on game number 2, just because they can either first pick it or ban it out. You can't really do that on red side, so you kind of just let it through. It's pretty unfortunate.
Now Huni, already with Trinity Force completed, also has the call, so that's going to add a little bit more salt to the wound. When he does complete that, they have Faker up in top lane, they have Bang in mid, and now they're going to put Huni in bottom lane, given that there's no objective on that side of the map remaining, with Drake having been killed. So there's almost no incentive for MVP to devote resources down there. So it's going to be Gangplank just keeps farming.
Oh, that was close. I'm not sure if he would have died, especially with the other guys from SKT around. But definitely a lot of damage would have gone down onto Faker.
Here we go, Peanut and beyond. Peanut wins the smite fight. Bang & Wolf putting a lot of turret damage down right now. The other thing that I guess we're not getting to talk about is that Wolf's support item is probably having a lot more gold than Max. And so that's also attributing to some of the gold advantage that SKT are finding themselves having, because Wolf is able to proc that so much more reliably than Max is.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see actually the total gold earned by Wolf compared to Max. I'm sure we'll get a look at that eventually. There's a ward actually up in top behind Faker. A bunch of pings went down, so maybe Ed was thinking about teleporting. Uh-oh, Ian, you're in a bit of trouble. You might have actually died to just Faker, but there you go. Gangplank ult makes him walk forward. Faker takes the alley-oop and gets another kill.
Gets another kill indeed, and he's going to pick up a turret to go along with it. And things go from bad to worse for MVP, as we're just over the 6-minute mark. And after this tower goes down, SK Telecom going to find themselves with a 6,000 gold lead.
Yep, nicely done. I mean, it is SKT that we are casting, so that's something to remember. Now Rift Herald comes down, the arrow goes wide.
Gonna pick up the Rift Herald right here and probably just put it onto Peanut to further enable any all-in or 1v1 plays he tries to make in the later stages of the game.
Now they gotta go for the BM. Give it to Wolf.
Make the purple guy a little bit more purple.
Yep. 10 out of 10 BM for sure. But no, they just give it over to Peanut. Huni chilling in the bot lane. Maokai is nowhere to be seen, although he is rotating down. Uh-oh, here comes Faker again. He wants Maha. He could have tried to Valkyrie in, but decides against it, probably because he didn't know what was beyond there.
Yep.
Or if there was anyone else.
But he did get Maha's flash. Almost ends up taking the turret, and then you can see Ian just waiting in the Wraith pit.
They really want this kill, but probably not going to happen.
And now turret about to go down, and it does indeed. And now MVP is really just struggling to hold any ground, because it almost feels like SKT is just blitzing them everywhere.
It's the onslaught of the best team in LCK. Team that has not dropped a map yet. Every position is like a superstar player when you think about it. I mean, Huni is becoming one. I mean, he's very well known, obviously, but he's
been doing fantastic so far in LCK Spring. able to play very different champions whenever needed. And you can see here in the replay, Faker just does way too much damage. And the Gangplank ultimate called in right at the end there. Faker able to pick up that kill and the turret shortly after. Meanwhile, Peanut getting himself a Bulbasaur.
He was thinking about not getting it. He almost ran away. He's like, ah, nah. But they have to. Oh, is it actually another Ocean Drake next? Okay. No, okay, it's Mountain Drake. Just trolling me there. So, gonna give the blue buff to Faker, I guess. I think they were trying to get that onto Bang, but messed that up.
Would have been a lot better on Bang. Enable him to charge his Monomune faster, and then also just the poke that he offers at this stage of the game is a little bit more valuable than it is on Faker.
Mm-hmm. Maha waiting in the wings.
Look at bottom lane right now. I mean, you can't have Ed teleport down to bottom just to protect the turret.
What's going on here? Huni taking a lot of damage. Actually does flash away, but eventually goes down.
And the end result is no one is able to respond to Faker in bottom, who also has a red buff.
And
which
the Peanut.
him. Yeah, and Peanut. And you see Wolf was just waiting for someone to try to do something. Unaware that he's on a ward right now, but even still, with those mobility boots, he would easily be able to get into position to kill anyone.
That Malzahar is so scary. Now they're party bushing over here. Peanut's even joining in. They really want to make a push onto this tier 2 mid turret, and they should be able to.
Yeah, I don't know why Beyond was up in top lane pushing the wave. SK Telecom.
What? That didn't work. He messed it up. Look at that. Faker just going to town on that back line. Everybody going down. Max just barely gets away. Maha may suffer the same fate. Down he goes to Bang. Here's Beyond, though, trying to come in and do a bit of damage. Faker's like, no, I'm Corky, and I'm fed, and I'm going to try to go for you, but I think he may have gone a little bit too far. He is going to go down, and Beyond even gets away.
Yeah. Faker going a little bit too aggressive there. Ed able to finalize the kill onto him, but they still lose the mid-tier 2 turret in the end anyway. SK Telecom, 20 minutes, basically a 9,000 gold lead, and complete control of this game.
Yeah, 5 towers down, 2 Drakes, both Cloud and Ocean, going over to SKT. Their carries are fed. A lot of the SKT games have been like the Huni show, but this one is the Faker show, something that a lot of people should be used to.
And you can see basically what's happening here. They're calling Ed in for a flank. Ian goes for that combo with Cassiopeia to try to get the non-responsive ultimate where opponents can't react to it in time, but botches, I guess, the key presses there in the end. Yeah. Didn't catch anyone, and from there it was all too easy for SK Telecom to juggle the turret aggro and bring everything down. Faker trying to be a little bit too aggressive at the end there. Didn't need to persist onto Beyond and Ed, but did, and ended up paying for it in the end. But they got the turret.
Yeah, I feel like he's almost playing around. He's like, oh, we won this game. I'm just going to go in and try to get the kill. Almost like solo queue-esque.
Faker up in top lane. He does have the package.
The massive package. Look at how big that thing is.
It looks like SK Telecom might just turn their objective to the top tier 2 turret. Huni has his ultimate available again. Doesn't have teleport or flash. Baron is a potential objective that could actually be captured by SK Telecom, given how unnaturally fed all of their champions are.
Ed was thinking about going in there on Tavares, but good call that he didn't. Wolf was waiting in the wings. And now we see a bunch of pings in mid lane. It looks like SKT wants to continue pushing down mid.
Looks like they're going to have 4 of their members stay in mid lane and then potentially unite with Huni in bottom.
Oh, QSS picked up early for Varus. No doubt Peanut is going to get arrowed here. Bunch of damage goes down onto him. He's actually going to get away. Faker in the back doing massive damage to Ian and Max. The stun actually misses there from Syndra. Ed is going to go down 1v5. And the rest of MVP just runs away with their tails between their legs.
Now SK Telecom looks like they're turning their sights actually to Baron. Beyond has to be careful here. He can't use the smite on red buff. Okay. Even if he didn't get spotted out, if he used the smite on red, then he wouldn't have it available to him if SKT were to start the Baron shortly after. There'd be no chance at outsmiting Peanut.
Yeah.
Not like there's going to be a chance anyway, though. Beyond nowhere near where he would need to be, and you can see that without vision, he's having to be so cautious.
He was thinking about it. He actually ulted there, but he was too late.
Too late indeed, and I mean, for MVP, it might just be too late as SK Telecom with the 12,000 gold advantage. And we can take another look at this fight. So even though Max was able to land the stun onto Bang, it really didn't matter. And then when the Ash Arrow hit Peanut, they followed that up, but Huni able to just activate his ultimate, and look at how far out of position MVP were. They don't even have their AD carry for this fight, and they were trying to take it. And I think that they just really overestimated how strong they were and what they could do with that arrow. And with Maha just not being there, they weren't able to do anything.
Yeah, I was wondering why the stun lasted so long, and I'm like, oh, he's in top lane. I thought he was just in the brush there, but yeah, he was just really out of position. So now, if Baron wasn't enough, we got Charmander here. Actually, I guess Inferno Drake is Charmander. But they are going to pick up the Mountain Drake and make their push even... Yeah, this is Squirtle. Make their push even stronger.
So now they do have the Mountain Drake Baron buff still alive. They have bottom pushing. No minion wave in mid as Ian quickly makes work of that, but doesn't really matter as they're going to just move into a 1-0-4. See that Beyond is up here in top lane with Ed. They might really just want to try to kill Huni and then teleport Ed into the fight. But I don't think there's going to be time for that.
Ooh, and Janet Crystal Arrow lands on the Faker, an extra stun. It just doesn't matter. Bang kills Ian in the back somehow. And the push continues. There's no way to stop this. Oh, man, the damage coming out of Courtney right now is pretty insane. Faker just going to, you know, try to get another MVP here. It's really the goal of his game every game.
They're just going for it. They teleport in Huni on that minion, although they're not making any use of it in terms of killing the turret.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, Ed is going to come in here. It is 3v5 currently. And Faker's going deep. He's going for it. And trying to get in onto Faker here, but the exhaust immediately onto Beyond. He's not going to be able to kill Faker.
Ian almost up. He is up now.
It seems like they don't want to throw, so they're going to back off. Bang kills Beyond down at the south side of the screen, and now they're actually going to turn after getting Beyond. So.
The team fighting ability from SKT and how quick they are, it's almost like you're watching one mind.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really impressive. Ian tried to use his summoner spells to maybe add a little bit of utility for MVP there, getting the slow from Cassiopeia's ultimate, but just didn't matter in the end. And while MVP are still in this game for a little while longer, they're 15,000 gold down as SK Telecom look to drive their way up mid lane now.
Yeah, the unstoppable force meets the weak, wet piece of tissue paper in the team of MVP right now. Oh my god, this is unbelievable amounts of damage. Ian gonna go down. Maha is just gonna get rolled over by Faker. He wants more kills. He wants to be on the top of that KDA chart. That's gonna be a triple kill for Faker now. Ed is a tree, so he just doesn't die, unfortunately. But that might just be the end of the game now. They're gonna continue pushing on in. They're juggling turret aggro.
They're just waiting for minions. That's all that this is about. Ed's not going to be able to hold this last turret.
They want to go to Shake Shack before it closes tonight. That's what they're doing. Okay, that's going to be game number one. Going over to SKT. Nicely done. Very, very clean victory there for the strongest team in LCK.
Wolf not looking very satisfied. Bang a little frustrated that they couldn't win on the push previously.
Faker thinking about those Shake Shack fries. Peanut's going to be subbed out. He's like, okay, I'm going home now.
It looks like he just took off his glasses. I don't think I need these for game number 2.
You guys play 4v5.
SK Telecom looking just as strong as ever, and really one of the things I'm thinking about when I'm watching these games is the current team roster that SKT has and the way that they're all playing and coordinating. We're really getting to see Faker flourish in a way that we haven't got to see him perform like this since years ago. And it's just really just enabling him to stand out and separate himself from the other mid laners in LCK, something that he was unable to do in LCK Summer to a certain degree.
Yeah, well, he certainly stood out in that game, making Corki look super broken. He got so far ahead so early on that his damage was unbelievable towards the later parts of those games, of that game rather.
We'll see what MVP can do in game number 2, because that wonky draft or wonky comp with the Syndra support didn't really seem to pan out too well. And we're going to see what other tricks they have up their sleeve. And also, red side SK Telecom, we're going to potentially get to see Katarina.
Yeah, I hope we do. So guys, we are going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with the analyst desk in just a couple of minutes. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.